want to stay very dialed in right now and give you everything that you'll need to make that first $10,000 a month. So what I'm going to show you in this video, step by step, all the tools that I would use literally if I was starting a recruiting company on day one, which I've done 3 times in my lifetime. The first thing I would do is make sure that my LinkedIn page, my personal LinkedIn page, not my business account, my personal one, is on point, okay? We've got a great looking banner. It's got authority in it with me at a conference speaking. Guys, fake it till you make it. If you don't have a picture like this, go to AI tools and get yourself talking at a conference, okay? Put a picture up there where you look like a leader and you know what you're doing within your niche. This is very important for posture and positioning. This happens to be a conference that I spoke at in Los Angeles a few years back within the wireless community, but you guys can get a picture like this too for your banner. Right now, getting a banner made can literally cost you $5 on Upwork or Fiverr. That's where I go to get banners made. That's where I recommend my members go within Recruitemy. So go ahead and do that. This is very important real estate right here. This is called above the fold. So when someone lands on your LinkedIn page, they're primarily going to stay right here. They're not really going to scroll down and look at your experience. So don't worry so much about all this. I could care less about that piece. What you really want to focus on is above the fold right here. Your banner, your profile picture should look professional. I'm stating the obvious. Bring it closer to the oval so people can see your face, your eyes. It establishes trust and credibility. And then there's different tricks here as to how you can get taglines off your name. And your headline is extremely important. In the headline, I'll leave you with this. When you construct your headline, you want it to basically be very clear as to what you do and put some keywords in there within your recruiting niche where a hiring manager is going to say, okay, this person is not the jack of all trade recruiter. He or she is very dialed into our niche and our industry. That builds trust right there and credibility. Go ahead and state a problem that you think your hiring managers are facing. For example, it could be that they're having a revolving door issue right now, that employees are coming and going. They're spending a ton of money on employee training to realize that in 2 months, employees are quitting, right? So you could talk about how you've got great retention, how candidates that you place tend to stick, and you're not going to lose money as a hiring manager. Guys, one piece that I missed in the beginning of this video was your entity, the website, all that stuff. As far as an email address, just go ahead and use Gmail. I don't make any money for saying this, but I've used it for all my businesses. It's very simple. It costs like $8 a month to have your Gmail email address for business. That's what you want to get. Don't get your first name at gmail.com. It should be Gmail for business. Just Google that in. I think it's like $8 a month, and go ahead and get yourself a professional email address. Another thing is when you're starting your company name, you want to leave out the word recruiting or the word staffing. The reason being is that if you're looking to eventually start a contract staffing model where you're placing temps, which I recommend you should do down the road, because you want to give your clients every option. That's important. If you're going to set up a contract staffing model, insurance companies and underwriters don't like the staffing and recruiting model because it's very temporary, it's very transactional, and it's high risk. So don't put that in your company name. It will cause the underwriters to not want to write you a plan. All right, moving right along. This is a tool that I'd recommend that you get. There's a few of them on the market. We have one called Recruitemy Leadcast. All of my members are in here right now. And this tool, what it does, the gist of it is it links up with your LinkedIn Sales Navigator account. So Sales Navigator is going to cost you about $80 a month. If you use your smartphone, your cell phone, and download the app and purchase it from there, you save $20 a month. It's just a hack that I learned a while back. Don't ask me why, but it's great to save money at the beginning. So get Sales Navigator through your phone, not through your computer. And then you're going to want a tool like this that will integrate with your Navigator account to send connection requests out at scale. Guys, recruiting is a numbers game. You're not going to sit here all day and surf the web and manually type in messages to hiring managers and candidates and make a few phone calls. That's not going to get you anywhere with your business. You won't be able to get that $10,000 a month consistently. You have to have numbers and traffic like any sales organization. It's all about numbers. It's about building a funnel. It's about building a sustainable sales pipeline, and a percentage of these people within your large campaigns are going to drop out as buyers. These are clients who are actually qualified that are going to want to work with you. But if you don't have that engine being fed thousands of leads every day, then you're pretty much dead in the water, and it's going to be impossible for you to scale your recruiting business. But this is how you do it. You use a tool like this, and then you jump into your LinkedIn account, which I'll do right here. And we'll go over to Sales Navigator. So this is what LinkedIn Sales Navigator looks like. There's a very common word within recruiting, which you may not know right now if you're newer to recruiting. It's called Boolean or Boolean. People pronounce it different ways, but basically it's just a way to filter and search for the ideal avatars that you want to reach out to. So in this instance, we would work over here, go through the filtering process of getting some really good targeted candidates within your niche lined up. And then, so for the sake of this exercise, I went ahead and wrote in like project manager up here, and we get a search result of 22 million people. That number is obviously not a manageable number. We really want to get like anywhere between, I would say, 750 to 1,500 people. That's much more of a manageable number. And then what you do when you get all these people, you're not going to go through them one by one. That's a waste of time. We just know that it's a good number, and there's going to be some people within this campaign of 1,500 that are going to make sense for us. They're going to be our ideal avatars. But this is how you use your time effectively and efficiently, so you can go to Publix and go grocery shopping on a Tuesday morning, go on vacation, go to the beach, do what you have to do, and let this work for you in the background versus doing manual work all day. Maybe you're still working and maintaining a corporate job. You don't have time to do this all day. This is why this system and process is so valuable for you to save time. All right, so once we get this number, let's say of 1,500 people, we'll just pretend, then we're going to go back into Recruitemy Leadcast. And this tool, this is how it works. So one of our members, Marcy, they're a husband and wife team. They started recruiting business a few months ago, and they've done already north of $100,000 in collected fees just from this tool alone, this one strategy. What was pretty cool is they were traveling on vacation in Italy back in June, about a month and a half ago. And this was producing responses from targeted hiring managers as they were marketing a specific candidate to a large list of client leads. And I'll show you exactly what happened. So all they did was they came in here, they created a new campaign, they went ahead and clicked on the Navigator box, they pasted that URL from Sales Navigator right here. Move my head up here. They called it whatever they wanted to call a campaign for their own organizational systems. And then they hit next, and then within seconds, those 1,500 leads of hiring managers, in this case, populate it right here into the system. That's all fine and dandy, but what do we do now with these leads? Like, how do we reach out to them? How do we start getting responses? So as you can see, Marcy has over 6,000 leads right here loaded up into the system. And what she did is she copied one of our AI sequences that we provided under steps right here. And I'll show you what that looks like. And we'll walk through it step by step because it's important for you to see. All right, and you can literally use this same sequence that produces at a high level. So we tell the system, let's find and verify their business email address. Now keep in mind, this is a campaign going after companies and hiring managers, not candidates. But this does both. You can do candidates or hiring managers. So in this example, Marcy is marketing a candidate to a lot of clients out there. So find and verify the business email address, and then we'll say, okay, great. If we can verify that it's a working email address, then we're going to start a cold email campaign on the right side of the branch, I call it. And it looks like this. Email number one is going to go out immediately once we verify that the email is working. And we just go ahead and copy and paste and plug and play, however you want to call it, the script right here. So here's the first email script that Marcy is using that she copied from our membership site. Feel free, guys, to go ahead and pause your screen and just jot this down or take a screenshot and use this one. This is a proven script. It works really well to get responses from hiring managers. And then as you scroll down here, you can go ahead and put your time cadence of when you want that automated message to go out. And then here's email message number 2. There you go. Go ahead and pause your screen. Take that one down if you'd like. This is a link to the MPC digital portfolio, which I'll show you here in a few seconds, that Marcy used from our applicant tracking system. And time cadence here was for this email to go out in 2 days. And this is message number 3. Voila, there you go. Okay, and then what we do is, let me minimize this a little bit. All right, so then if the client is not responding to email, we don't stop. We're gonna go ahead and invite them to connect on LinkedIn. So we'll pivot away from cold email and dive right into LinkedIn outreach right here. And this would be your LinkedIn message, or one example of a LinkedIn outreach message that we do for connections. And in this instant, Marcy put a 3-day cadence on here. So we give the person 3 days to connect with us on LinkedIn, because the reality is some managers might be on vacation, might be busy in budget meetings, who knows what it is, but 3 days seems to be a good time frame for them to respond and accept your connection acceptance. Awesome. Okay, here's the variable. So if they connect or if they don't connect, what do? This software knows that if they connect, we're gonna DM them on LinkedIn, direct message them. And here you go, here's the scripts. All 3 of these. So these prospects can run, but they cannot hide, all right? So can you imagine the power of this system if you have 2,000, 4,000, in this instance, over 6,000 leads pumped into this tool where they're getting, how many here? Like probably 15 outreaches or touches every week. Very powerful stuff here. And I'll show you what happens, guys. This starts flooding your inbox. I have members that will literally reach out to me and say, Russ, can you turn the volume down or show me how to turn the volume down? I cannot keep up with the responses and leads right now. Obviously a good problem to have. All right, so DM on LinkedIn. If they don't respond to you, or I'm sorry, if they don't connect with you on LinkedIn for 3 days, then we're gonna go ahead and fire out an in-mail message. And what's an in-mail message? When you purchase Sales Navigator from LinkedIn, I think you get about 100 in-mail messages. That is a way to reach out to anybody on LinkedIn without being a first degree connection. Okay, so the way LinkedIn works, if you don't know, you can't direct message somebody unless they've accepted your invitation to connect. But with in-mail messages, you can. So that's what this does. All right, and then so the left side of the branch, I think I said right before left, would be if our tool here cannot verify that their email address is accurate or working properly, if it gets bounced back, then we'll just hit them up on LinkedIn. We'll invite them to connect. And then if they connect, we'll do message over about, I think, 5 days, and the same thing, in-mail message right here. Really powerful stuff, right? So now what happens? Great, so all this is going out, and this is where we can manage all of our responses right here. So this is one unified inbox, and this mirrors your LinkedIn account, right? So I think there was an example, there's a couple examples on here, but as Marcy and her husband were in Italy last month on vacation, they're getting responses from targeted hiring managers in their campaign, 6,000 people, and it looks like this. So here's the managers over here, and they're writing this specific manager bit on their second automated message. Marcy, send to my email, and I blurred out the email address. So that's awesome. That's a manager replying back to an automated outreach while you're on vacation. Obviously, this manager has a need. Otherwise, he wouldn't have wrote back to send the digital portfolio, the MPC, over to his email address. Literally provided his email address. And then here's another example. This manager right here, Keith, he bit on Marcy's first email, right? That went out within days. Where is this candidate located? That's a buying question. This is a manager who has a need right now, and you developed this all through automation. You didn't have to pick up the phone and cold call, make 100 cold calls today. You didn't have to go there and manually type messages and rely on lame cold email campaigns. This is the power of a system like this that's gonna literally help you scale out your recruiting business and help you start earning over $10,000 a month on autopilot while you're sleeping 24/7. So for those of you watching that maybe have fear of business development, sales outreach, maybe you've never done that before, don't worry. This does the work of a full-time salesperson or a full-time recruiter while you're managing it behind the scenes. All right, so I'm gonna pivot away from LeadCast. Let me jump into the applicant tracking system that we use. And this is where we store all the templates. So that word digital portfolio that I've been using throughout this video, that's also interchangeable with MPC, most placeable candidate. That's a strategy that I've used for a long time, and it's what I teach my members right now. It's the best way to get clients at scale in very short order. And here's why, guys. So humans are attracted to a story, a narrative, right? So let's bring up two ways that you could reach out to a client. Number one, which is what most recruiters do. Hey, Bob, I'm Russ with ConnectGen, and I specialize in wireless telecom, and I'm just calling to see if I could ever help you out one day to find out what kind of hiring needs you have. I want to be your go-to recruiter who does specialize in wireless telecom. So do you have any hiring needs right now? That's number one, which doesn't work anymore. Managers don't want to hear that. They hear it all day long. They're bored by that. They're irritated by that, and they're going to hang the phone up on you. They're not going to respond to you. Versus scenario number two, where you send them a very compelling email message or LinkedIn message that's, hey, Bob, I'll make this brief. I've got an A-player passive candidate that's recently on the market after 7 years of being at one of your competitor companies, and name the company. We have a very strong relationship, so he's relying on me to confidentially represent him in the marketplace right now. You may have heard this before, but this is not a cliche. This person is not going to last much longer on the market. I'm actually shocked that he's even looking right now, but there's some things going on internally that I can share with you offline. In any event, I made your life a whole lot easier. I know you're busy. Click this button right here. It's his digital portfolio. You'll see a quick video that he's done for us, as well as what he's doing right now and what he wants to do, what his salary expectations are. It'll answer all those questions for you. And then let me know. Let's set up a call tomorrow to go into more detail as to what's going on right now internally at his company. So which message do you think is going to work better? Obviously, number two. That elicits more responses. People want to hear a story. They want to hear a narrative. So the way we create these MPC pages are stored right here in our applicant tracking system, most placeable candidate template. This is where I create them and my members create them. But basically you click in here and you edit it. I'll just click on this. It's a drag and a drop. It's so easy to use, very simple user interface. And you would just put your logo right here and literally click in here and just change words around. And this would be a picture of your candidate that you're representing, a quick little video that you do with them. Just very slick and very different. Most recruiters don't do this, so you get really good responses. When it's all said and done, the finished product would look like this. And it would be branded with, move my face down here. The URL is branded with your company name on here. And this is how the manager receives it, and they can look at it. To me, this is much better than looking at a generic resume, a PDF, or a Word doc. It's got a lot more to it, a lot more pizzazz, looks more professional, especially if you're going after retained search deals where you collect a payment up front. All right, I had a little bit of a camera malfunction there, so we're back, and I know it looks different, but I had to change my cameras out. All good. All right, so moving along, these pages, as I was saying, are awesome for doing performance-based search or retained search if that's an area that you want to get into, which I highly recommend that you do not work for free. Don't let hiring managers use you and collect a payment up front so that they have skin in the game. But I do other videos on my channel that you can watch about the strategy behind that. Let's stay focused here on how you're going to get your first $10,000. All right, so MPC pages, that's what Marcy was marketing in Leadcast. That's how she was getting responses from that guy, Jim and Keith. And this is a great way when you tell a story and tell a narrative and cause a scarcity event, great way to get responses from managers over any other mechanism or method that I could possibly think of. And guys, I've tried it all. Direct mail, trade shows, knocking on doors. Let me get my foot in the door, literally putting candy in a high top sneaker, cold calling, scouring LinkedIn all day. All those things will work. It's going to take up a ton of your time. And it's just what every average recruiter does. So you want to be different, you want to be weird, and you must stand out nowadays. So another good template that I like to use is our shortlist form. And the premise of this is when you have, let's say, 2 to 3 candidates that you want to send over to a client and show them each candidate, give them a little more variety, things to choose from, you could use a form like this. And this is what it looks like. So shortlist template. And I'll open up the finished product for you to see. But again, guys, this is just being different, right? Not many recruiters do this. And this is a shortlist form the client will get. When you email it to them, they get their own password. It feels very secretive and exciting. And their logo's right here, so it's branded for them. And then you put your candidates right here, all 3 candidates. You put a scoring system as to what you believe is the score for them after you've screened each one of these candidates. And your client can click in here further to do a deeper dive into each candidate. But this would essentially be the shortlist form that would go over to clients, giving them all these candidates to look at. This form has worked really well. And a lot of the responses that I get from managers are like, wow, I've never seen anything like this before. this is really cool. It makes my life easy. I can go through these candidates, really good stuff. Or, hey, I don't have a need right now, but love the presentation, Russ. Let's stay in touch. I may have some needs coming up in a month from now. That's what you want. You want responses so you can build your sales pipeline.